Yay.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vaishali Sampat, and I'm a member of the BOMA GLA Sustainability Committee, excuse me. Welcome to the second installment of our LunchCast series, part of BOMA GLA's Green Bite Sustainability Education Initiative. Our committee launched this initiative to provide members with timely and actionable information they can use in operating and managing their assets and lower their environmental impacts. This webinar series is designed especially for property owners, managers, and engineers. This presentation will be recorded and available for later viewing at bomagla.org. With that, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Katie Fries, here to discuss sustainability and effects on net operating income. Katie is a sustainability coordinator with leading edge consultant services, specializing in LEED certification for existing buildings and Energy Star benchmarking. During her time at Leading Edge, she's earned her LEED AP, WELL AP, and Fitwel Ambassador credentials. She's also earned a BA in Environmental Studies from the University of California, Santa Barbara. We hope you find today's presentation valuable and ask that you visit bomagla.org for additional resources and to give us your feedback on the LunchCast series. And now I'll turn it over to you, Katie.
Hi, all. It's great to be talking to you on this beautiful, rainy California day. This is my first time doing one of these webinars, so please bear with me as I get used to all this stuff. But first things first, I'd like to ask you all, I think if you go to the top of your screen, you have the option to ask questions. You can type those in at the top as they come up to you, and I will answer any questions you have at the end of the presentation. So with no further ado, let's get started. So just want to go over our learning objectives today. The first thing we're going to talk about is which level and type of sustainability certification your property should pursue to maximize return on investment. Low cost and capital technologies shown to maximize water and energy savings and where to use them. And what is often called the soft side of sustainability. So how things like interior design and materials, things that we don't always think about as having a concrete impact on ROI, can actually translate to higher income in a very tangible way. With LEED, LEED is the most common certification that my company performs, LEED on existing commercial buildings. Generally speaking, a higher level of LEED will mean that you're paying more upfront and you are getting a higher overall return on investment. There are 4 layers of LEED, as most of you are probably familiar with, but I'll review just in case there's any newbies on the call looking to learn more. So there are a total of 110 points you can earn for LEED, scattered over several credit categories, including energy, water, site sustainability, and indoor environmental quality. We will usually, my team and consultants will tend to recommend a higher level of certification either for the larger, higher budget buildings or buildings that have previously been certified, either under the same or a previous LEED version. Generally, guys just starting out, smaller buildings, certified or silver is a great place to start, just to keep you level with code and hopefully doing a little better. So I wanted to start here with water use. Doesn't feel like California's in a drought right now, but I'm sure summer will come around and it'll be the same as it always is, very hot and dry. So I wanted to point out to you guys a couple of low-cost technologies you can implement in your building that will save you money real quick. So this data here is actually based on real clients of Leading Edge. And this is the actual cost of faucet aerators. You can find them at Home Depot or just about any hardware store. Really low labor costs because you can usually get building engineering to do it. As you can see, regardless of your building size, you're going to get a real fast ROI on that because the monthly savings are already greater than the actual cost of the aerators. I also wanted to talk about outdoor water use. I think that's something that gets talked about less often in LEED circles, but it's really important. Obviously, you could see in LA, code is getting a lot stricter about lawn installation, but also it can save you a lot of money. So installation costs for drought-tolerant plants average $2 only per square foot, with an ROI of 36 cents per square foot annually. That stat is taken from the American Society of Landscape Architects. And that means that you're going to get, get back all that lost money back in just 5.5 years, just based on water savings. Regardless of how large or how small that planted area is. And these pictures here are just to show that California landscape does not have to be dry desert scrub or cactus. These are all pictures I've taken myself at gardens throughout California. And these are all either native or adaptive plants. And you can see they add some color. Let's embrace California's natural beauty. Another thing you might get excited for is your building may be eligible for LADWP's cash rebate program for low water irrigation systems and weather-based controllers. And I will be showing all those resources and how to access them at the end of the presentation. Here's a quote from the US Green Building Council. As the green power market matures and the effects of other power sources on the environment and human health are factored into power costs, renewable energy is expected to become less expensive than conventional power products. And you all as business people know this. Whenever you get a spiffy new technology, it's going to be way more expensive than it is down the line. We all remember when Tesla came out and those cars were all $300K, and now you can get a Tesla for $50K. So kind of in that spirit, the trajectory of solar and wind power is getting more affordable. In the meantime, if you want to make money from solar or wind power, especially solar, a lot of buildings out, especially in the valley, lower rise buildings in open sunny areas, are choosing to actually install solar panels and offset that cost by selling renewable energy credits to buildings in areas like downtown LA who need renewable energy for their LEED certification, but due to their height, due to the density of buildings, don't have access to that sunlight. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're considering installing solar panels. There are ways to make extra money just off of that. And here are some low-cost energy retrofit ideas. As you can see, again, this is all based on actual client data from buildings in California. A lot of this is just the installation, the retrofitting of lighting. So LED lighting can make a huge difference in your building. Not only is it going to save you cost-wise, but the quality of lighting tends to be a lot better. Those bulbs last a lot longer. So you can see the simple payback is really short for most of these things here. HVAC, if you change your schedule, that has the potential to save you a lot of money with almost no cost at all. When you consider how much you're saving in the long run, basically this means you turn off your HVAC unless somebody comes in on the weekend and says, hey, I need the HVAC running. I mean, there's really no reason if you're running a big old building to keep that on the weekend if nobody's going to be in the building. And then up here, you can get a utility incentive in some parts of Los Angeles for lighting retrofits. So again, this will be on the resources slide at the end of the presentation. Surveys. Surveys are a very underutilized sustainability tool. One of the lowest cost ways to conserve energy is to ask occupants how they feel in your workspace. A lot of folks are running their AC or heat excessively. I've talked to my team, Leading Edge's engineers, and this is an issue they see in buildings all the time, where everyone in an office space is freezing and they're running the air at 68 when they really don't need to be doing that in the middle of summer. So one thing that my team does is if we go in and perform a survey for LEED, we will use incentives to encourage participation in surveys, such as coffee, sweet treats, or a raffle drawing. I recently went to a building to conduct a survey, and we got a little ice cream cart with ice cream sandwiches in a big, beautiful high-rise in downtown LA. Little cheap ice cream sandwiches are a great treat anytime. Occupant health. So now we are moving on to the soft side of sustainability and the ways in which occupant health and happiness can really have an effect on your bottom line. So according to the World Health Organization, up to 64 million US office workers suffer from sick building syndrome, which usually manifests as respiratory issues and can really grate on the immune system and cause you to become vulnerable to communicable diseases. This also translates to revenue loss from absenteeism as well as presenteeism, which is a term in the green building world that means people are showing up to work sick and they're getting their coworkers sick. And you're having half of the employees in a space not performing at their best, which is not good news if you're a tenant renting a space in that building. So how do we fix this? Well, one of the top things we recommend to clients is to replace your filtration systems with filters rated MERV 13 or finer. For those of you unfamiliar with the MERV rating system, basically, they start down at 8 and go all the way up. And basically, the higher the rating, the finer the mesh in the filter. So it ranges from just filtering out particulate matter to keeping occupants safe from VOCs and the really fine stuff that we're breathing in all the time. Another important thing to do if you are performing any kind of construction, demolition, renovation work, if you're starting out fresh, encourage tenants to purchase furnishings and install carpets that do not emit VOCs. They will thank you later when everybody else during the winter is getting the flu and the cold, and all these guys in this clean building are doing better. Look for the logos to the right when purchasing cleaners and pest treatments. So you'll see EPA Safer Choice. The green seal check mark is for cleaning chemicals. And the UL Eco logo actually recently replaced Environmental Choice CCD as a label for green cleaning products. LEED v4. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with LEED v4. This is LEED's most recent iteration and has proven to be a very good fit for a lot of commercial buildings. So to give you an idea, the contrast with other versions of LEED, previous versions, v4, v3, is this is a performance-based platform. So it's based less on documentation, saying you're going to do things, and based more on actual measurable statistics. So generally speaking, I would recommend LEED v4.1 for newer, more energy efficient buildings. Energy is a huge part of LEED v4.1. So if you're an older building, a more traditional form of LEED may be a better fit for you. But if you're a very energy efficient building, this is going to save you a lot of hair tearing out, a lot of paperwork, a lot of tracking down documentation you would otherwise need. So here is kind of a visualization of the contrast between LEED v4.1 and traditional LEED platforms. So with traditional LEED, it's a 5-year recertification cycle. So you can wait up to 5 years and your previous certification is still good and will help you out in some of those credits. With LEED v4.1, it's a shorter period. It's a 3-year recertification. Traditional LEED platforms, energy efficiency is worth 20 points. As mentioned before, LEED v4.1, energy efficiency is worth 33 points. In a traditional LEED platform, vendor tracking is required, meaning basically that the consulting team needs to reach out to, your pest management guy, your landscaper, your janitorial team, and keep track of all the products you've purchased throughout whatever the performance period is. In LEED v4.1, because it is performance-based and not prescriptive, you're not tracking all of these purchases. However, as you will see on the bottom there, this does affect you still because you need, your air quality points are going to be based on the results of air quality testing. So if you're installing high VOC carpet or using a lot of chemicals, that's going to affect your performance there. You'll also see in LEED v4.1 that occupant surveys are a prerequisite. They're not a credit that you earn optionally. So LEED v4.1 requires that you survey occupants for transportation, single occupancy vehicles versus alternative or green forms of transportation. And also you are required to offer an occupant comfort survey, which was kind of what I had touched on earlier, just asking your occupants, are they hot? Are they cold? Do they feel that the air quality, sound quality in their space is good? Also important, waste audit is a prerequisite in LEED v4.1, which means your consulting team or an outside vendor is going to be coming in and, yes, sorting your trash and checking for your diversion rate from landfill based on a 24-hour period. So these are just some things to take into account. Again, if you have a high waste diversion rate that you're confident in, if you have newly vamped workspaces, LEED v4.1 is probably a good fit for you, and we've had buildings perform very well with it. All right, now I'm going to move into kind of the innovation part of LEED. This is called biophilia, which is the innate affinity human beings have for the natural environment and living things as expressed in architecture and design. And why do we care about this? Biophilic elements have been found to boost mood and creativity, meaning happier occupants. As a result, tenants are willing to pay more for biophilic spaces. So you've probably heard of biophilia in the context of the WELL building standard or Fitwell. And it's kind of talked about in this kind of, esoteric way, like, oh, it's nice to have for occupants. It's so pretty. And I mean, it is, don't get me wrong. But you can definitely improve your bottom line by including biophilic elements in your building. So here's some low-cost biophilic features that can be used for existing buildings. You don't have to start from scratch. Use of natural and local materials, shelter and privacy. So when you're looking at the, just conference rooms or soundproof booths in tenant spaces, things like that. Water features, small recirculating fountains, things of that nature in your lobby space. Artwork featuring natural images or patterns, indoor vegetation, and natural scents. Aromatherapy is becoming a big thing in a lot of the newer offices. And actually, it's part of the WELL building standard you can get a credit for introducing 2 or more natural fragrances to your office space, and it's a fairly low cost. So you'll see the picture here on the right. It's a real museum that actually, I believe, recently opened this year, the Hiroshi Senju Museum in Japan. And you can see it embodies a lot of these features that we're discussing. You'll see the planted atria, kind of the use of natural shapes, light colors that don't block out the sunlight, and images of nature or natural patterns. So these kind of things. It's not just for new buildings, but as you all have probably seen, big tenants like Google always looking for the nature-oriented workspaces. So basically, just to summarize, the steps we kind of walked through: decide on the type and level of certification for your building, whether you're going to do a traditional platform or go for the performance-based LEED v4.1, and whether you're going to go for certified silver, gold, or platinum. Select lower cost technologies to help save water and energy. Some of these things you can even just do on your own. Consider landscape updates, even if it's just something that is smaller scale. And work with your janitorial team to choose healthy cleaning products. I actually really can't emphasize this enough. I have to say it's been an honor really working with some of the janitorial teams I've worked with. They are such a resource and so knowledgeable. So please talk to them about green cleaning. They will get right on it. And then spruce up your space with touches of nature. And then here are the resources. This presentation will be uploaded to the BOMA website, so you can take a look there. Also, feel free to take a picture on your cell phone if you want. And let me see if I got any questions. Doesn't look like it. All right, I will throw it back to Vishali to give you all information on the next lunch webcast.
Okay, thank you, Katie, for that presentation. It was lots of really great information, and congratulations on completing your first webinar.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank all the participants for joining us today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to Katie. Her information can be found on the PowerPoint presentation, which she mentioned will be posted up on the website in the next couple of days in the sustainability section at bomagla.org. We have a couple of LunchCasts coming up really soon. First up is the BOMA W2 Challenge. This is the Waste and Water Challenge, which will be held on February 27th. And then on March 14th, we'll be having a presentation on green leases and how to capture overstandard tenant consumption. We really hope you can join us then. And thank you, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.